All right, welcome back to the Farmer Braun podcast. I'm your host, Josh Hahn, aka Farmer Braun. And you know what? Today we're going to talk about some goals again. So, in the last episode, we talked about how to set some goals, some parameters for setting goals, that kind of stuff. Today, we're going to talk about how do we actually obtain those goals. So, I'm just kind of spitballing today, so we'll see where this goes. But, First thing I want to talk about is how you just got to make a decision as far as how you're going to get from where you are now to where you want to be. So you've set that goal, and you're like, how the heck do I get there? How do I lose 30 pounds? How do I get a 500-pound deadlift? How do I improve my financial situation? And so on and so forth. It's like, you know what you want and you know where you are, but how do you get there? What's the in-between? And the first thing I'm going to say is you just got to make a choice. Sometimes we can be in just like information overload. So I saw this thing by Alex Hormozy. He was doing a talk at some event, and he had like this whiteboard where he showed, where you're at is at the bottom, and then your goal is there at the top of the page or the whiteboard, and there's this in between. And on one side, he wrote down anxiety, and on the other side, he wrote down sadness. And he said kind of the difference there when he feels anxiety is there are so many options to get from where you are to where you want to be that you don't know what choice to make. And then on the other hand, when you're feeling sadness or hopelessness, it's like you know where you are and you know where you want to be, but you don't see any options. So on the multiple option side of the board, what I would say is you just got to make a choice. You want to make an informed choice, but the thing is most of the choices that we make in life, they're not life or death. And let's take like the losing weight example. You might see so many different options, so many different diets, so many different, exercise routines, so on and so forth, that you're like, I don't know what to do. And so then you don't do anything. You just got to pick something. Like if it's worked for someone, it can work for you. And so you might try intermittent fasting, and you need to try it for 6 weeks at least and just see how it goes. And it's worked for many people. It can work for you. And you might find out at the end of the 6 weeks, oh, this sucks. I don't like doing it. And so then you pick something else. And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's carnivore. I wouldn't go vegan, but that's just me. Pick just counting your calories on an app like MyFitnessPal, or I use Yarzio. So since MyFitnessPal took away the free scanning, kind of bummed about that. And this works for like big items as well. And I'll take you way back to when I was in a situation in my job. I was working as a carpenter, and the economy tanked, the jobs got small. I wasn't working on 3-year-long projects anymore. The projects were more like 3 months. And I'm like, I got to do something else. I don't like being laid off every 3 months, I didn't like seeing where the other guys around me were at, divorce, alcoholics, that kind of stuff. And just a disclaimer, if you pick the construction scene, you do not need to go that route. That's just what I was seeing at that time in my life. And so I wanted to make a choice to get to a more stable career that wasn't going to beat me up. And so I took some career aptitude tests online. And I don't remember what all was on there, but pharmacist was on the top of like 5 different lists. And I didn't know what a pharmacist did. I didn't know really what it entailed. I just knew that it was a job that wasn't going to beat me up, and they made decent money. And so I made that choice. There are a ton of other choices I could have made. Everything's on the table when you're picking your career. But I just made a choice, and it worked out. So, you don't need to put so much weight on it. And the thing is even with career choices, it's not forever. It doesn't have to be forever. I would say pick something that you have or can develop the skills to do. It's going to make decent money, and then learn how to manage your money, because learning how to manage your money is going to have direct impact on how much you have to work in any job. And any job that you pick is going to have its upsides and its downsides. You're not going to have like, oh, the perfect job that you love every day. It's just not out there. I'm sorry. And so it'd be better to just pick something that's going to be solid, learn how to manage money, and then that'll limit the amount of times that you have to be at that job. So on the other end of the spectrum, where on that other side of the board, where you got where you are and where you want to be, but you don't see any choices, it feels hopeless. In those instances, you need to get some mentors. You got to figure out like, hey, this person, they have a life where I want to be. What are they doing? And get some ideas. Figure out how to make some choices where it seems like there's no choices. Because I guarantee if there's a will, there's a way. You can figure it out. And, I got to say this just to get a little bit spiritual, on both ends of the spectrum, the anxiety side where there's so many choices, and then the hopeless side where it feels like there's nothing. There's always hope in Jesus, and getting in the Word is going to help you filter out the right choice to make. And so get counsel in the Word and get hope from Jesus. That'll take care of the anxiety and the hopelessness portion, especially in those tough life situations, an illness, a job loss, those type of things where it's just heavy. Christ is the answer. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. When you got a ton of choices on the table, do just a little bit of research, talk to people that are where you want to go, and pick something. Just pick something and do it for like 6 weeks to 3 months and just see where you go with it. You'll find out in the first 4 weeks, I guarantee, whether it's going to work for you or not. Honestly, even going back to the example of the pharmacy thing. So one of the things that I thought about in picking the pharmacy career was I knew that the undergrad portion was going to be transferable to a few different fields, not just pharmacy. So I could find out while pursuing my undergrad at Eastern, do I like science? Do I like pharmacy at all? It gave me a chance to go actually, shadow some pharmacists at a few different places to figure out, hey, is this what I want to do? And if it's not, I've got other options. And so there are things in life where you can pick the big goal, like I picked pharmacy, but there are other options along the way that have some overlap. And so you can build in a little security there. You could even use the example of different workouts. Like let's say you're trying to figure out how to get a little bit more fit or lose some weight or just get stronger. You can get a gym membership. That's a good start, because then within that gym membership, you got a bunch of different options. They're going to have classes that you could attend that maybe that helps with the accountability piece. They're going to have, the cardio equipment. Stay away from that. They'll have like the machines, the free weights, on and on. So you've got a bunch of different options. So get your gym membership. And then from there, you can pick a modality and stick with it for, 6 weeks to 3 months. See how you feel. If you don't like it, then switch it up. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. Just kind of spitballing. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you have any advice on this topic that might help someone out, leave that in the comments too. And thanks for hanging out. See you next time.